Welcome to Entertain This, a podcast about movies, TV shows, and video games, and books. A special today with a special guest, Leslie Ann Lee. Miss Lee, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Reading through your bio, you said you've been writing since you could walk.
Pretty much.
All right. And you have, 6 books published?
6 published, and then we're currently working on the 7th.
Okay. That's the Veil series, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The Legends of the Veil, yep.
Mm-hmm. And, I have lots of questions about what your, shtick would be the better term, to how you got to, more fantasy fiction when you seem to have started out in, historical fiction. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But before we get into all the good stuff, I kind of want to know your journey as to how you got to where you're at. So you started writing when you were young.
Yeah.
Did you win like contests and stuff like that?
Yeah. So reading and writing has been a part of my life for forever. Mm-hmm. First memories I have are of my mom reading to me Charlotte's Web and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, to be specific. And then from there, I wanted to create my own stories, do my own thing. And so I was in the 2nd grade, and our school had a writing competition, and I took home 2nd place, which was the fuel for me to go back and do it again in 3rd grade.
Wow.
And because I wanted first, and I still got 2nd. I got 2nd 2 years in a row. And so from then on, it was almost kind of like a competition with myself. I never got that stupid first place ribbon, and it made me mad. And so I've just been kind of writing ever since, always trying to better myself and top myself.
Yeah.
Never won first place for my creative writing, but I did take home a couple of first places for my poetry. So I guess in the end, I did kind of like come out on top.
Well, who was that first place guy?
I was about to ask, was it the same person both times?
Some punk. No, it was a different person every single time.
Well, they're back.
And they probably gave the school more money or something. I don't know.
Yeah, their teachers on the board, or their parents are on the
Exactly.
Suddenly there's a library named after his dad. It's like, what?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I've never entered any writing competition.
So you did a little bit, I guess you would call that short work as a kid, kind of learning how to...
Yeah, very short.
And poetry, and you said you did pretty well with poetry. I dabble.
Apparently.
I dabble in writing, but poetry
made me want to rip my hair out.
Like, you have to follow an iambic pentameter. Like, what do you have a specific style of poetry that you kind of cater to? Or do you actually make your words rhyme?
In the beginning when I think I got into poetry because in high school, and we're talking like freshman, sophomore year, I would be sitting in biology class. I hate science. Okay. Nothing against it. I think it's fantastic. I just don't like learning it.
That's fair.
And so I would have my 5-star notebook, and I would never take biology notes. I barely graduated. This is a true story because I didn't pay attention in science. But I wanted to write. And so you only had like 45 minutes to come up with something, and so I would do poetry because it was much easier than doing like, a full-on novel or something. And so in the beginning, it was, 4 lines in a stanza, and the first and third line, lines would rhyme. And it was all because I was an emotional teenager. It was all like tragic love and ridiculous, stupid stuff, And then as I grew older and I got into college, again, the same thing. I never wanted to pay attention unless it was my literature or English class. I was writing the poetry, and I started to do a lot more free verse.
Okay.
And just kind of like messing around with things. I don't like rules. I'm really stubborn. And so to like be told that like this line had to rhyme with this line, it made me mad.
Yeah. To be fair, all poets are pretty free-spirited to begin with, so establishing rules seems kind of contradictory.
It's kind of like Dead Poet Society.
Absolutely.
Today. So who's your favorite poet?
Exactly, yes. My favorite poet, oh geez. I liked a lot of the the old school in the sense of like Yeats or Wordsworth. I think Coleridge is absolutely fascinating. Just the tangents and the stories that he would create.
Yeah.
He always seemed to almost be like on a trip, which was amazing because then you have to go back and interpret things. But I do love like Maya Angelou. I love a lot of her stuff, and Langston Hughes.
Huh.
So it's kind of like the wide gambit. Because I think all poets have so much to offer. They have something that they bring to the table. And so you kind of just have to learn to appreciate everything and then kind of come up with your own interpretation.
Do you feel that poets, some of the best poets are also some of the best prose writers and vice versa? Or do you feel like like Dickinson, I don't think she ever wrote any.
Yeah. Emily. Oh, she's so good. Yeah. No, I think it just is kind of what you want to do. I definitely think that for myself, writing prose has helped write the poetry, especially when it comes to just word knowledge and, like the dictionary that I carry around in my brain.
Right.
And so that's been helpful in writing poetry because you have a smaller amount of space to create a kind of like a bigger image for the reader. Yeah. And, but then, I mean, there are people that have never written a story in their life and they're fantastic poets.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It just depends on the artist, I guess.
Yeah. Dickinson's definitely one of those examples. Also, I actually went to her house one time and was peeking through the floorboards to see if she stuffed any of those little notes and stuff. She would write poetry just to burn it kind of stuff. It's just weird people, obviously doing it for themselves, not for an audience.
Exactly.
And I guess I get why that works.
Yeah, for sure.
But like for instance, Tom here is a big aficionado for Tolkien, who also is a huge, I guess you could say poet. Yeah,
I think he's just kind of one of those outlier people where there was so much stuff that he could do so well. Yeah, that it was just like, what category do you put him in? It's like he just has his own little thing. It's like, and that's why he was like, oh, it's Tolkien-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Linguistic stuff. Have you ever tried to develop your own language and stuff for any stories?
No, I cheat.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of in the fantasy stuff that I've done. There's a lot of old language, like Gaelic or old Germanic words that I've just done research on. I could not. True story. I failed linguistics 3 times. Wow. I couldn't wrap my head. I had to take it for my degree. Yeah. So I had to pass, but I could not because it's the scientific approach to language, which we all know I don't like science. Yeah. So it killed me. And I just never was able to kind of like understand it. And so when I come up with words, they're usually already in existence.
That's fair. Yeah, I would be definitely too lazy to try and figure something like that out too. So okay, so you're in college. You're succeeding at the literary craft, but struggling through some the more core classes and stuff, which I can definitely
make you take.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to. I appreciate that. When you finally were getting through, and what was the moment you felt like you could sit down and write a novel?
We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
I think, I wrote my first book in my senior year of high school.
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't exist anymore. It was through a publishing company that like belly up and then my stuff just disappeared. But I mean, my first official book, which a lot of people that have kind of known me since high school days, that's their favorite, which I find really weird because I wrote it when I was like 17, 18 years old. And so like, I've grown so much more as a writer since then, but a lot of people say it's their favorite. So whatever. I think when I finally started kind of realizing that I had the time and this was my moment and this is what I wanted to do, was towards the end of college. I had planned on being a teacher, an English teacher. That was kind of just like what am I going to do with like this ability? Like there's nothing else to do, you know, I might as well just go and teach English. Loved my English teacher in high school, wanted to be just like him when I grew up. And so, but then the closer I got to graduation, the more I was like, okay, I love kids, but teaching just didn't sound fun to me. It didn't sound like you knew that. I mean, you went through the whole high school, college experience. You know, you're going to get yelled at. You know, you're going to have to grade horrible papers. Yeah. And I kind of started to feel like I was going to end up hating the thing that I love if I went into that profession. So I asked my then boyfriend at the time, we were planning on getting married. And so it was kind of like, I need to ask him if this is cool. Like, are you okay with me just being a writer by profession? Whatever that means, I'm not going to make as much and I'm probably going to be at home a lot more, but this is what I want to do. Are you okay with it? And the smart man said, yeah, that's fine. So, you know, cool. We can stay together.
After he got up and wiped the blood from his head.
Exactly. Seriously. I remember being so nervous asking because I was like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen if he says no, like go to school and be a teacher. So yeah, I've done a lot of kind of like part-time work in order to keep myself going. I don't like to be idle. I like to stay busy even if I'm not writing. And so that I kind of just do that. But the luxury with that is that I can then always be writing, whether it's, you know, for other people or whether it's for myself.
So, but all your published work is essentially for yourself, correct?
This is true. Okay. Yes. All my published work is for myself. I've done a lot of, like currently I'm working for, I don't even know what to call them. They do like video shorts, like serialized stories. Okay. In video form. But then they take those stories and they want to convert them into novel form. Okay. And so I'm working for them doing that. I take like the screenplay and I convert it into a novel. Okay. And that pays like really well, which is really nice because then I can take that money and put it towards the stuff that I want to put out there that has my name on it. Yeah. Because I essentially do that work as like a ghostwriter. Like nobody knows it's me writing it.
Well, can you tell us?
Yeah, I can tell you. Okay. What I just did.
Anything good? Anything we know?
I mean, it's very, well, it depends on what you like. This is all in the romance, fantasy, werewolf falls in love with a vampire genre. Okay. So if you like that kind of thing, well, then yeah, it's totally for you.
Mitch is definitely more in that category.
Right up there.
I don't read so much the romance part, but I love like vampire and werewolf kind of stories and stuff like that.
He's read all the Anne Rice and stuff, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I have read those.
So good. Anne Rice is amazing. I got to see her house. Oh, yeah? I've never seen Dickinson, but I did get to see Anne Rice's, and that was pretty cool.
Cool. Was this before or after she died?
She was already dead, which made it kind of sad. Yeah. But I was like, I had to pay, honor to her.
Yeah, I get it. Yep. Okay, so actually, while we're talking about you kind of ghostwriting, I have done some research, and I have talked to some friends who are also in, writing and whatnot, and then the cutoff is just like you don't make any money or you make a ton of money, and so people who are trying to find that middle ground like you are, how do you market yourself to do ghostwriting, to do any form of writing like narrative or prose or whatever that can kind of get you out there?
It's really hard.
Uh-huh.
I've kind of found like my jobs, my niche, whatever, through just networking, through knowing people who know somebody who has something that's available. This all came about because I'm part of a local filmmaker group.
Okay.
And one of the producers / directors is also part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
He ironically comes from where I'm from, which is in the middle of California. Like, we're not a big city or anything, but because we were part of the same group, and he saw that I was working on a project, and he was like, okay, cool, you're a writer. Guess what? We need writers.
Yeah.
So he connected me with the right people, and I ended up with this job, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
I had a job for years, probably 8 to 10, where I was doing, I was working with students with disabilities, learning disabilities at the local college,
mm-hmm.
and I would help them write their essays.
Okay.
Because they had a lot of like processing, disabilities, that kind of thing. And so we would work together, and, how do you form a paragraph? How do you write the sentence? Because you want it to be their work, but you also want it, you want them to learn and grow as much as any other collegiate. So, and that came about literally because I put an ad on Craigslist.
Did you find yourself as a teacher doing that, essentially as a teacher? Like you said, you were afraid you were going to hate the work?
Yeah. And I think this worked for me because I wasn't necessarily teaching in a sense. I was showing.
Okay.
And it was very one-on-one.
Okay.
And it was situations where, the student, or in some situations, the parents, I had a lot of freshman parents come to me and like find me. And, we would be connected, and it would be something that like they wanted. Like, if they didn't have my help, they wouldn't be writing an essay.
Yeah.
So it was a very kind of like one-on-one partnership, which was a lot better than being in front of a lot of kids, like trying to teach them Shakespeare and them not getting it.
Right. I can see the pros and cons for both. I mean,
yeah,
it'd be tough to especially as somebody on your level, try and, brass tacks, bare bones, teach just basic, narrative.
Yeah. And so. I mean, for me, I feel like kind of like the written word is in many ways a dying art. Like it's my kids, I've really struggled with my children to like, give them an appreciation for like the classics.
Right.
Reading is so important. Well, no, Mom, we can just watch the movie. Well, no, you can't. Like the movie,
because the movie
is great,
sucks.
maybe, but it's yeah, exactly. I mean, like it's and so I want to give them that appreciation for like the work that these authors have put in, and the ability to use your imagination when you open a book and you just see words on a page. There's no pictures necessarily, but use your imagination. And my daughter, I struggle more with. She's very kind of like black and white and factual, and this is just the way life is.
That is my daughter, 100%.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's just. So it kills me because I'm like, read this book, it's so good, and she's just like, this is dumb.
Well, I've learned with my daughter,
son, who is.
Sorry, I think we got a little bit of a lag. I've learned with my daughter.
Oh no, go ahead.
I've learned with
that's fine. Go ahead.
She's like, we pushed Harry Potter. We pushed it probably too hard, and now she hates Harry Potter. She doesn't want anything to do with it, right? My son, we just let him watch the first movie, right? And he's 8. My daughter's 16.
Yeah.
And my son's like, that was a great movie. I want to see the next one. And I was like, well, you got to read the books first. And we got him. We got him that way, But because my daughter, I can't get her to read Lord of the Rings. I can't get her to watch the movies.
Disown her.
Because I pushed it too hard, and I've learned. And she's another free spirit person. She reads like she reads a lot of what I'm thinking is kind of more in keeping with your genre, the fantasy kind of, YA books and stuff. She's read Shadow and Bone and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yes.
And one thing I've noticed a lot is like,
it just depends.
Going back with like the Anne Rice stuff is like a lot of times you can read a book and then you can watch the movie. And the movies, I like the movie and I like the book, but the book just has a lot more in it than what you can experience in a 2-hour movie. So it gives you a lot more into the characters and the story and everything. So
yeah, I mean, to your point with Anne Rice, and so I read Interview with the Vampire years ago, like the classic one, and then I wasn't raised. My parents would never have let me watch the Brad Pitt version of it ever. But I was just right, exactly. Like I think no way. I'm a pastor's kid, so vampires are satanic and evil, and so it was the whole thing. And so that was what I was raised with, and that was kind of like, even though it wasn't necessarily in keeping up with the book, that was the visual that I had. And then watching the series, that, there's like 2 seasons or whatever of it. It's the same, but it's so different.
Right.
It's a perfect example of how you take something from a book and there can be completely different interpretations of it, and approaches to it.
Right.
So, yeah, I find that fascinating.
That was stuff that drove me insane in high school.
What?
I hated every English class I was in. And it would be like, oh, read this. And it's like, what do you think the author's trying to convey? That the curtains are blue and like all this crap about the room they're in. And I'm like, he's a horrible interior decorator. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I don't know what you want.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, movies can be like that too.
Yes. It's true. It's true.
So have you written script work before?
Yeah. Yes. So that's the short answer.
Okay.
The short answer is yes. The long answer is when I was doing kind of a press tour. It wasn't a press tour. I was on a Zoom call with somebody in Atlanta.
Okay.
And this person had seen some of my stuff and was like, "Hey, do you want to like chat about your work?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And we ended up not even really talking about writing. We ended up, this guy is like very into like, he's in the film world, but then he's also into like health and fitness. So we talked about really almost everything but my writing, which was fine. But towards the end of this like hour-long conversation, he's like, the writing came up and he made the comment that the Veil books would make really good movies.
Okay.
And I was like, I never really thought about that. Like, I've always been focused on just making a novel. He's like, no, you should totally try it and like make a screenplay and put it out there. And okay, fine, challenge accepted. If you know me, you know that anytime somebody like says, do this or try it, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And so I wrote a screenplay for the first book in the series. It was like writing a foreign language.
It is.
It's so different from, in a novel, you just expand and expand and expand and you're using all these words and these visuals. And with a screenplay, you just cut it dry.
Yep.
And, because you want to leave things open for interpretation for, the director and the cinematographer and whatnot. And so I actually had to hire an editor who was fabulous. He was out of Germany, of all places, and he would just cut. Like my first draft was like 220 pages, which was that was just crap. The screenplay, that's way too much. And now as it stands, it's 141. And so,
that's pretty solid.
Is still for some people too long.
Yeah. For a first movie, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like, I don't know what else to cut. Yeah. Like we had all these conversations about like, you have to remove these characters. I'm like, no, but they're mine. Yeah,
that's where you see characters get combined and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, like how to combine scenes. No, it was awful. It was, but it had happened, and so now on top of like writing novels, I'm writing screenplays, and that's kind of like a parallel road that I'm taking with not only promoting the novels and getting the word out about the novels, but then also like kind of like wandering through the world of filmmaking and film festivals and film competitions to see if and when there's a possibility of, the script getting optioned or something.
Writing in present tense sucks. I hate it so much.
I know.
It's so tough to do.
It's awful. Well, and with the ghostwriting, I have to write in first person, which I cannot. I hate it so much because I want to be omnipresent. I want to just see everything and give my own interpretation. But all the writing for this company is first person, and so it kills me.
Oh, sorry about that, but hey, at least you're making money.
I know I can't complain because I'm making money, so it's fine.
The scripts that you have written for your books, have you sold the film rights to them?
I have. I wish.
Okay.
We're currently in. That was the other thing too. Okay, so I have the script. So now what do I do?
Right.
I have a ton of friends who are in the industry, but they're all they're videographers and location scouts and makeup artists. I don't know any people with the money, And so I was kind of floundering for a while, and then I ended up talking to somebody who's actually in the festival industry and the competition. They've done the competition thing, and they kind of knew more as to what I needed to do and what I should do. And so now we're kind of at the stage where I'm entering competitions, I'm entering festivals, I'm trying to network with people, shamelessly throwing my script at them and saying, hey, just take a look, you'll love it. Here's my card.
Right.
It's garnered some interest with festivals, but no money yet.
Yeah, it's a very pushy industry. You got to just go out there and have such confidence the whole time.
Yeah.
Especially coming from a person.
It's hard for a creative because you you tend to hide behind your computer, you're not, and then you're here, take my work, but don't talk to me. So I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to advocating. So it's so hard.
Yeah, that's a dichotomy between narrative traditional novel writers and film writers. They're two completely different people. We'll drive our little Buick LeSabres and barely make it to some place with their picnic basket and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They'll be in their Camaros,
their Jags,
screaming loud, talking on two cell phones.
I'm important.
I have all the mocha lattes.
It's totally true.
Well, hey, it's impressive that you're willing to, step outside your comfort zone and pursue all avenues of the creative field. There's a lot of people that are just pleasant to settle, and anything to get your stories heard and seen, it's worth the risk. And I'm glad to see people like you doing that. So let's talk about your first published work that people can read today.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Take it away.
Go for it.
What is it?
I'm going. Okay. You want me to talk? First person. I've written a series called Legends of the Veil. It's going to be a 4-part series. We have the first 2 books out already. The first book is called Child of Dawn. And it's kind of like my testament and my love message to creatives like Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, and it's set in this world that's kind of parallel to ours. It coexists with ours, and you can kind of cross back and forth between the human world and the Veil. And in this fictional world, it's ruled in part by vampires and in part by elves who have been warring with each other for a millennium. No one knows how the war started. Everybody just knows that they're supposed to hate the other creature that is coexisting with them.
Right.
And the first book kind of sets up the salvation of the Veil. They're on the precipice of total destruction. The war is just killing their world, and then there's a prophecy that if the prophecy is fulfilled, the Veil will be saved. If the prophecy is not, then they will just cease to exist.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: the Veil is saved, and then we continue on to the second book, which kind of deals with the situation. What do you do when you've been at war with someone for your entire life, your entire existence, and now you are at peace? Like, how do you function in that kind of existence and the problems that sometimes that brings up?
Okay. Okay. So, how long have you been kind of like fermenting this idea for this fantasy story?
So it started with like in COVID, towards the end of COVID. I was home with my two kids. We were all really bored. We had it with the homeschooling and the not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was reading them a really beautiful version of Beauty and the Beast, illustrated. And when I was done, they went off and did their own thing. I don't think it impacted them the way it did me. But hence they don't like to read.
Yeah.
But I kind of was struck with the idea, what if Beauty still loved the Beast and he hadn't changed? Like, what if he didn't become like the hot prince or whatever? And so from that, I didn't even really think about it as far as like creating a story from it. But then from that, I was like, all right, well, if I were to do something with this, I hadn't written in a couple of years. And so I was like, if I do something with this, okay, what does that look like? I can't use a beast because Disney would probably come after me for copyright infringement.
Oh yeah.
And even though they didn't come up with the original idea, but they still would try to like sue me.
They would.
Then in black suits and Mickey Mouse ears would show up.
Exactly. And I'm like, I don't have the money to fight Disney. So
This is funny.
let me come up with like another creature. And I've always loved vampire lore, not just Dracula, but like even the stories that, Stoker read to come up with the idea for Dracula.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, it's going to have to be a vampire.
Right.
But I didn't want to have a vampire that was just, I didn't want like the Edward Cullen version.
Right.
And I didn't want like this total like evil being. There's kind of like two ends of the vampire spectrum. And I didn't like either one of them. And so I kind of created this character who he's a monster, but he's a monster because that's what his label is.
Okay.
He's come from an existence where he's watched the people he loved suffer just simply because they loved one another.
Right.
He's been raised to have a chip on his shoulder. Again, because that's his existence. That's all he's really known. But really, he has a soul and he has a heart. He just needs somebody to kind of bring it out of him. And so that became Dagsbrun, who's my main character. And then from there, it was just like, okay, so he needs to have kind of like a counterpart. Who's his counterpart going to be? And so I created this elf human who has kind of like the same kind of chip on her shoulder because she's grown up in the real world, the human world.
Okay.
But she has magical abilities. People consider her a witch simply because they don't understand her.
Right.
And that's kind of a message that I continue to work with throughout the whole series is just because somebody gives you a label doesn't mean you have to live up to it. Kind of find your own identity and your own place in the world, and what you can bring to the world and the existence you have by just you being yourself and not being what somebody has said you should be.
Fascinating.
And so, it's just been like this evolutionary process of like whatever.
Let me ask the important questions. Do your vampires die in direct sunlight?
No, they do not.
They don't?
So that's where they don't. And they don't glow.
Okay.
They're not sparkly.
Okay. Good. That's fair.
They need blood in order to function, but they're not necessarily like lurking in alleyways.
Okay.
Living in caves.
I tried caves, no caves. They live in darker places, like gloomy, but not and the thing that I really liked doing in the first book, their nemesis priestesses are elves.
Okay.
And elves are, I mean, you look at like perfect example is Lord of the Rings, or at least in the movies, where, they're all perfect skin, long flowing hair,
pompous.
perfect clothes, pompous, refined, sophisticated, generally come off as the good guys. Like if you kind of watch the movies at surface level, but then you know that like they had, like if you read the books, like there's a lot of struggle, that eternal struggle that goes along in questioning and how Elrond fears for Arwen's life and like all the things. And so with the elves, they kind of tend to be like the light character, the good guys, whatever. And in the Vale, they're very morally gray.
Okay.
Even though their clothes are light and airy, and they live in a place where there's more sunlight and things are green, and their kingdom is on the water, they kind of tend to be the villain more often than the vampires do, which was intentional because I kind of wanted to talk, like you can look at somebody or something and think that it's evil or wrong, but that's based on what you've been told. And then you have like the hero or the good guy, but why is that person the hero or the good guy? Is it, and so, there's a lot of commentary.
Yeah.
I don't try to be political, and I don't try to have like
you base off of what you know kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And the whole thing started, again, at the end of COVID.
Right.
We were tail end of like Black Lives Matter and the hashtag Me Too and all the things. And I had watched a lot of that through the eyes of my children who didn't understand, except for the fact that there was just violence all around them. The store, the Target that we go to, got vandalized. And I had to explain that to my kids. Yeah. Why can't we go to school? All these things. And so, it's kind of, yes, it's a fantasy and none of it's real. But there's a lot of realness in the story.
Yeah, I think that's where most fictional stories come from anyway. So
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, another important question. Does your vampire protagonist, is he like 1,000 years old and date a 16-year-old girl?
He's not 1,000.
Okay.
He's only 984. And yeah, he's 984. No, he's a younger vampire. He's like in his like 300-400.
Okay.
He does have a great grandfather that plays a pivotal role throughout the novels. He actually raised him, and he's much older.
Okay.
But he also does not date a 16-year-old.
Well, that's good. That's good. I think that was the part of Twilight that bothered me the most.
It's like, wait, how old are these two?
Weird. Yeah. Right.
And then he's like, I sparkle. This is the skin of a killer. It's like, what?
I know, right? Oh, so bad. So bad.
Awful.
So, before COVID, when you were coming up with the ideas for this, and you had written other books that were predominantly historical fiction, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Did you see yourself only writing that, or were you always open to the idea for fantasy?
So like I mentioned before, if you challenge me to do it, I probably will.
Okay.
That is how these books came about. Mm-hmm. I was very much historical fiction. I don't know. I think the decision to write historical fiction came from the fact that when I started really writing full-length novels, that's what I was reading.
Right.
I was reading the historical fiction. Usually it was set like in the 1800s somewhere, whatever. And so logically, I should just write my own.
Okay.
And then I have a really good friend who never thought he'd ever be mentioned ever in any sort of interview whatsoever. And now he's like the subject of like every interview he comes up, because he came to me one day and he's like, Leslie, you've got to write something else. Like, have you ever thought of writing science fiction or fantasy? Like, you should just try it. Yeah. And I was like, all right, bring it on. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. Sci-fi for me, again, it's science, and it's more like I don't think I could do like the technical aspect of the jargon, and I don't even really understand the concept of light speed because it's just like completely beyond me. So it was kind of like, I can't do sci-fi, but I could totally do fantasy. And so, like, little did he know that there'd be not one, not two, but 4 books at least that, you know, were based on his random comment.
That's awesome. You should give him a cut of the pie, so to speak. So.
I know.
What is your writing? Yeah. What is your writing process? Like you're actively working on the next book, right?
Yeah. So
every day, you kind of thing.
I try.
Okay.
I really try. Again, I'm the mom of a 13 and 10-year-old, and the older they get, the more all-consuming they get. I mean, you know. And so, like this last weekend, my daughter had a cheer competition in LA.
Wow.
And so I tried as much as I could. I think I got like over the course of 3 days, I wrote like half a chapter because it's just, you know, you can't, you have, they come first, and tried to write, you know, in the gymnasium where this competition was, in this uncomfortable seat, and I was there for like 8 hours and I got like 2 paragraphs. You know, it's just that's just life. But on a good day, I could get through a chapter it's my goal. I used to be really hard on myself if I didn't achieve like a chapter a day. I was getting it done. Now it's a chapter a week.
Okay.
And you know, and if I get more done, that's fantastic. But I have to be easy on myself because I realized that life isn't what it was when, you know, my kids were like toddlers and you could put them in front of
and
a TV or give them a toy.
You don't want to, you know, overdo your creative process and winds of winter yourself.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Yes.
It's wild that you can write a chapter and a half.
No, and it's true because pacing is huge because I know there's a lot of crap that I've written that's not published that, you know, it was just like I was trying to like I was trying to like vomit words on, you know, onto paper because I just felt like I had to, like I was obligated to, and that's not a reality. I mean, I guess if you're a news reporter and you have a deadline, you know, you need, you know, but even then you want to put out your best stuff.
Right.
Because it's your calling card, you know, it's how people identify you. And so if you're putting out crap, then no one's going to want to read it.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah. And so like, as far as like, I don't know, like the process of writing a book, I start with an idea. I used to outline and I don't anymore. I have a point A and a point B, the beginning and the end, and I know what I want to have happen. But like even right now, I'm writing the 3rd book right now, and there's a battle that takes place. And originally the battle was only going to be like 1 chapter, but it just kind of keeps expanding, you know, and like I can't, like I'm like, oh, this happens, and this should happen, and oh, this needs to happen, and this needs to happen with this person,
right?
And so now we're at like 4 chapters. Exactly, like it's just like, I mean, like this, even this morning I was thinking that it was going to kind of come to an end, and then I'm like, well, no, this person needs to do that to this person, and that's going to be like a whole nother chapter. So, you know, and so you just have to have the patience.
Well, that leads me to my next question, because, you know, building a giant story, hundreds of pages, right? Especially when you kind of just like let the creative gods guide you to wherever you're going. At some point, you're going to contradict a previous part of the book that you've written. You know, how difficult is that? You know, to violate your own rules and then remake the rules and so on and so forth. Like, especially now that you have multiple books, have you ever found yourself in a hole with the 2nd book or the 3rd book that you're writing right now that you can't go back and unpublish the 1st book?
Exactly. Not that I know of.
Okay.
But like I mean, nobody's come to me and been like, dude,
there's an error in continuity.
Totally right. Exactly. Which I'm very grateful for. I do keep a copy of like both books next to me when I'm writing, like they go everywhere with me. Because then I'm like, okay, I don't remember, like talking about the Vampire's Age. I couldn't remember. There's a part in the 2nd book where like his exact age is mentioned, and I couldn't remember what I had put, but I knew that I had put it. So I was like, okay, I've got to find this because I have to make sure that it's cohesive with the rest of like the series. And in this book, the third one, we do a time jump. And so the first two are very linear, like one happens after the other. And then this one, we jump 18 years.
Okay.
And so it's like I have to now not only be consistent with like what's happened, but then also make sure that there's no plot holes that could have, something that happened like within that 18 years that or like even, like I mean, yes, they're vampires and elves, but yes, they do age.
Right.
So like staying, consistent and like making sure that like I don't screw something up because I just, flash forward,
right.
2 decades.
Have you found yourself having to kill your darlings a little bit with this is a really cool thing I want to do, but I've made it already up to this point where it's just not possible, and you have to, so you just have to scrap it. Okay, that's gotta suck.
Yep. Yeah, no, it does, and also like the fact like I mean, this is a reality. It's reality in the sense that they live in a violent environment. People are going to have to die. And I don't like killing my characters because it just wrecks me because they're my babies.
Yeah.
But you have to do it like for like realism. Right. And so there's actually, I'm going to have to, this chapter that I'm working on is such a chapter where like a major character is going to die. And it sucks, but I know it has to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Just put on a Walk to Remember and play some Enya in the background.
Exactly.
Drink some red wine.
Yep.
Get the bunny slippers.
Yep. Make myself. Yep. I got to get in the mindset of just total misery and depression.
Instead of like George R. R. Martin, it's like, and done.
Yep.
He's like, who am I killing now? And he throws like a dart at a board. It's like Jon Snow. Again? Yeah, why not? We'll bring him back next chapter.
Right? Exactly.
Well, last question I have, and I'll surrender the floor to my co-host here. So what would you say your target audience is for your series now? Age group and everything.
Age group and like, okay, so this is a very tricky question.
Okay.
Because I try to write across the board. I try to not gear specifically toward youth or like older people. I have teenagers that have read my stuff, and I have like senior citizens that have read my stuff.
Okay.
So my target audience, when somebody actually like did the statistics or whatever for me, is 18 to 34.
Okay.
That's like the apparent sweet spot. But again, it's I write with the mindset that if my 13-year-old daughter picked up my book and read it, she would be fine.
Okay.
But then if my slightly more into like romance friend who's in her late 50s picked it up, she would also be entertained.
Okay, so
if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I was reading Empire the Vampire, for instance, and I was thinking about recommending it to my daughter, and then it got to like some of the
the smut,
the sweaty scenes, I guess you could say, and I was like, nah, it'd be weird for me to do this.
It's like, hey, you should read this. It's like, okay, Dad.
Exactly.
So
right, like what's wrong with you? And I mean, there's romance. There's romance in these books, but it's like something that you would see like in a PG-13 movie. Okay. Like if you went,
black.
like there's exactly. Yeah. Like I'm just, and I sometimes I want to go farther. Yeah. Like I'm like the scene should go farther, but I'm just like, no, I can't do that because the audience that I have, that I've grown, isn't that they would burn the book, and so I want to respect my audience, know. Which is why I have this ghostwriting job because
then you can release the X-rated versions.
All the way. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Well, do you guys have any questions for her?
The one question I was kind of wondering is, with your Veil series, if you were going to make it into like an on-screen kind of thing, would you prefer to do more of a TV show to flesh it out more, or would you prefer movies to kind of focus on the main story?
Oh,
Whoever has more money.
Good question. Yes. Yes. But also, yes. So I actually recently got asked this question by somebody, and I was like, I have a vision of what I would want to see on the screen, of course, because I'm the writer. So if like Netflix came to me and said, you know, we want to do it. This is what our thought is for it, and I liked it, then Netflix would be fine. If a production company, you know, whoever, New Line Cinemas or whatever, came to me and said the same thing, and I thought they could do it better, then, you know, I would say, sure.
Right.
My whole thing with especially like the fantasy genre is I've seen a lot of really good fantasy, and I've seen a lot of really bad fantasy.
Right.
Yep.
Netflix buys it all, so.
Right? Exactly. And I'm just like, guys, like, you could do so much better.
Buy my book.
But we're not going to.
I know. And it's horrible. And so, like, I don't want like the cheese ball kind of like you can tell everything is green screen and you filmed it all in a studio and it's all CGI and crap. Like, I can't stand that. I know it has a place and I appreciate it and I respect it. But if that's what you're going to go with, then I'd rather just never sell my script because
that's
like,
fair.
You know, like I just, you know, I have like, I know that I can't have total creative control, but I want to have a little bit because it's my baby, you know, and you don't want to like insult your own work by giving it to somebody who's not going to create the vision.
Yeah, you have a quality in mind for your stuff that you want to keep. So that's understandable.
You're a better person than me. I would sell out in a heartbeat.
Hayden would sell us out in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You want to buy a podcast, by the way? So,
and there's good examples of writers who wrote something and got to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And got mad, but then they were like, no, this actually worked out better than what I wrote.
Well,
yeah.
So
exactly.
I listened to a really interesting question that a prolific author was asked, and he was older in his age, and the person said, do you think authors lose their focus the older they get? And his answer was really smart. He's like, no, I think they just get clouded with money, you know? And I think that's a good point. Like the person who writes the cutting edge novel that goes against the grain of society and really catches people's attention and stuff like that, then all of a sudden, you know, they want to sequel.
Flooded with money, and it's like the next one,
resurrect the characters and all this other stuff. So I would be that author though.
As long as you're honest.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Money.
Well, like I love comics and stuff, but no character ever stays dead in the comics.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. It's true. They come back somehow.
And I want to go back a little bit to, I guess, writing in high school and all that. I was like, all these English teachers you've had, you said one of them you were a huge fan of. What was like the one paper you wrote that they just tore apart and you were like, am I going to be a writer?
Oh, gosh. So, yeah.
What was their name?
Yeah, so we can find them and beat them up.
Okay, I mean, I can totally, his name was Greg Stobie. We're still friends.
We're going to Google him.
Greg Stobie was my English teacher and my drama teacher. And he knew that I loved writing. And so, and I loved the classics and everything. And so, I turned in a paper once on Great Expectations.
Okay.
Which, ironically, I did my thesis on Dickens.
Oh, wow.
So, So when I turned in this crap paper because I had procrastinated and hadn't done it until the night before, he knew that he had the right to shred me because I was subpar in what he had come to expect of me.
Okay.
And we had that relationship where it was, you know, like, you want me to read, because I would bring him anything I wrote.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And he would go through it with me, and, you know, you need to do this, or you should do this, or whatever. But yeah, Great Expectations. I will never forget that. I still have the paper somewhere. Yeah. I kept it as kind of like a reminder that, you know, you don't shortchange yourself, or you know.
Okay, so it was a productive kick in the butt.
It was productive, and he knew he had the right to do it, and I mean, like, and I respected him for that, and to this day we're still friends, and I owe him my life, because I would not have continued to do anything probably if I hadn't had him as kind of like a mentor.
Yeah, well, you know, show him some of your paychecks and be like, what do you think about me now?
I wonder how many almost writers there have been.
Because of English teachers.
Yeah. Like, this sucks. You suck. Because, like, every paper I wrote, it would be like a B. Like, might be the best I ever did.
Hell, she could have been an astronaut if she had a good science teacher.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you from the International Space Station. That's the best paper, though, I ever wrote. And I didn't even write it. I dictated it. Because in college, my freshman year, they're like, all right, you can team up and write a paper. It has to be like 15 pages. You can write about whatever the hell you want. And me and my roommate, you know, we're sitting there, like, smoke a cigarette, have a beer, and we're like 18. And I was like, all right, I got it. I was like, start typing. And the entire paper was about giving the business.
Okay.
It was the history of giving the business to somebody, all because of something that happened on Monday Night Football in like the mid 80s. Oh. And we got a 95, and she's like, this is the best paper I've gotten in 3 years.
A 95.
Which just boggles my mind sometimes. Like, you can write about the most random thing and, like, be an award-winning, like, somebody. And then you spend countless hours and, you know, years slaving over, like, your masterpiece. Mm-hmm. And, like, nobody cares.
Yep. Yeah.
Next paper went down like an asteroid crashing into the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, it was really great talking to you.
Yes, thank you so much.
I would like to keep in touch. I'm gonna recommend your books to my daughter, and you know, and if she grabs onto them, I'll even give them a read. Do you have any? So I too struggle with the forced, you know, methods of making me do things like reading. Do you have audiobooks? Is that a thing?
So I don't think this is like secret.
Okay.
But we're actually just whoever. The audiobooks are actually a work in process as of this week.
Whoa.
For the first 2 books.
That's awesome.
So that's just like, whoa. So that's exciting. And that actually like came about. So my Stoby, my English teacher, he is now, he's blind.
Okay.
Now. And so he can't read my stuff. And so, and he was, when I had, you know, when I had found that out, I was like, well, I need to like come up with a way for you to be able to like read my things, and like audiobook, we got to do it. Like now it's just a sign. I need to make it possible. So so the audiobooks, I talked to the people this last week, and it's going to be like a month-long process, and then we should have something like within the next month or so.
Honestly,
so that's exciting.
That would go by a lot faster than I thought it would. You know,
right?
So,
right? Yeah. I was like, really? Yeah. Okay. Of course, they might have just been pulling my leg, and it's going to take months. So who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get right on it. Wink.
Well, hey,
exactly.
I will give it a listen, and I'll count it as reading. And but my daughter will do it the right way, as she would say, and actually read the books. So, but
good for her.
Thanks so much for dealing with us and our ramblings. And,
no, it's a privilege.
I'm excited to see you, and when you get famous and you get your Netflix deals and stuff like that, please don't forget about us.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You'll have to be at the premiere.
You got it. All right.
All right.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye.